Hey guys, Coach Bricks here. I hope you're well. Listen, I wanted to bring this up because I've been thinking a lot about this, praying about it and stuff like that. And it's this whole thing why I got into this movement called Earth Strong. Wasn't just because it was some new thing, a newfangled thing. It definitely happened about 6 years ago when my life started to shift. A lot of bad things went on that I did, and started to see the darkness come in and how to heal and how to heal. Nobody really tells you how to heal. Nobody explains anything about healing. Yes, your body heals. Okay, that's what I figured out. That's why so many people become sick is because they rely on some superficial thing to actually try to fix them, aka pills, all this other kind of stuff, other interventions and things like that. And I started to realize that it was really God that heals you. And the closer you get to God, the more you understand how the body is. Okay. And that's what I realized. Listen, I've been in the strength and conditioning industry for years, years. And a lot of the stuff that I believed early on and would continue with a lot of the guys that I follow continue to preach, 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 preach. They're just off. Okay. And I know they're not going to like to hear that, but they're just off in what they're saying. Yes, they have some of the concepts correct, but they're not understanding the basic concept of humans. Okay, that's what we lost. Is strength important? No question. But how much strength? How much strength in a gym do I need? Okay, I've seen guys that are huge, massive. Okay, I used to be able to lift a ton. Okay, my body fell apart, and almost every single person I know that's one of those gym people that has these massive frames, can lift all this weight, are broken. Okay, they eventually their backs start to hurt, their knees start to hurt. And all this. Now you have some outliners that don't, but the majority of people they're broken. Okay. They wake up when they hit 40 and 50 years old and they start complaining about back pain, neck pain, all this. That's not how it's supposed to be in life. And that's what I started to realize. Like, wait a second, why is my body so broken at age 43? Why? I could lift a house. I did everything these guys all say, but yet my body fell apart. A lot of it had to do with the spiritual aspect of it. I was totally lost. The mental aspect wasn't there, and the physical aspect fell apart. And I talk about this often throughout, my journey on the Earth Strong. But what I'm seeing today in 2025 probably disturbs me the most. And it's this AI stuff where everybody's embracing it. The majority of people are embracing it. And that's fine. You have every right to believe and do what you want to do, and you want to make as much money as possible. So you want this. Now remember, AI, okay, is artificial intelligence. Think about that. That means we are trying to create something that has a brain or a thought process. Think about that. If you're a Christian out there, okay, and you continue to embrace this, I'm not saying you don't use it to here and there, but you continue to embrace it and say, this is the future. What are you believing then? You're believing that you can create life. You can create something out of thin air. That's not how it works. Only God can. If you're truly Christian, how can you believe that aspect of it? We've already devolved so much from the beginning of life, from the beginning of time. Since God put us on this earth, we had devolved so bad. In the last 5 to 10 years, we probably devolved faster than probably in the 50 years before this. Now, a lot of this will offend a lot of people, and that's fine. You can get mad at me. You can unfollow. You can never talk to me again. I don't care. Okay. Really don't, it doesn't really bother me anymore because you're not looking deep inside here of what we need to be able to do as humans. See, humans were not meant for this comfortable lifestyle. Humans were not meant, oh, just get to a point in your life, retire your kids, don't let them work hard, don't let them do things. That's how it's supposed to be. That's never what God intended. Never, never in the Bible did I say, just get to a certain point and get comfortable. Never did I read that. I have read that you're supposed to work till you die. Now, how hard you're supposed to work, that's always up for debate. But you are supposed to work and continue to spread his message and continue to do the things he asked you to do. He asked us to be human. Okay. So that's a key point of who we're supposed to be. But we're getting further and further away. We don't even know what human is anymore. We live in these houses that everybody bitches and complains when they don't have air, don't have heat. Oh, your house is too cold. Oh, it's too this, it's too. What are you kidding me? Have we gone that soft that we can't handle it? And this goes for everybody. Okay, this also had to include me. I developed that attitude different when I started to see this. See, everybody says, "Oh, Dave, you've always been this tough guy," blah blah blah. Never to this extent, because God has showed me that. Listen, that's not the toughness that I want. I want a toughness that the person is resilient, that he's not going to crack. He's not going to fold when things get bad, and they're going to get bad. Unfortunately, I know everybody thought their savior came, okay, when we had the last election, but it doesn't really matter. That's not your savior. Your savior is Jesus Christ. He's the only one who can save you. Okay. When he's coming back, I have no idea. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's a million years from now. I have zero understanding of that. I'm not God. What I do know is AI continues to make us soft. It's 100% facts. And now you continue to read where AI is now starting to get more intelligent. It's starting to understand, hey, I know how to manipulate these things. It goes back to a movie that I saw, and I wish more people would watch, and I wish more people would bring it up. It was called I, Robot. It starred Will Smith. And I said back then, I said, that is going to come true before 2030. That kind of stuff is coming true. Those robots are already made. Now, they're not quite to that capability, but they're getting there faster than I ever thought possible. Most people, even I think out there, would agree with me. It's running faster and rampant than ever we thought possible because AI has now got this, artificial intelligence that is becoming smarter. It'll eventually become smarter than humans because we have not stopped it because we want safety. We want comfort. We want power. We want all this stuff. It's always about us. That's the problem. Nobody ever said if we could make it. It's whether we should make it. And my honest opinion is no. Look at the kids of today. Okay, if you're going to go to high school, you most likely will not be very intelligent. And I'm not trying to knock you. And this is the reason I say this, is because you can have AI write all your stuff. Now you say, well, teachers have this thing that they can tell us AI. Come on, let's be honest. It's like a guy named Victor Conte. If you don't know who Victor Conte was, he was a guy at the head of the drugs back in the days of Marion Jones and stuff in the Olympics, okay, back in 2012, 28, all those times, Barry Bonds era, all that kind of stuff, where he always said one thing. He said, well, drugs will always be ahead of the drug testing because you can't test for something that's not there. So you got to wait till it comes out. Then you got to figure out how to test for it and all this kind of stuff. But Victor Conte was ahead of that whole thing. I forget the name of the lab that he ran, but he said that it's the same thing with artificial intelligence. You can't test for something if you don't know what it is yet. So you have to wait and then figure out something to test for. And AI now can say, that's not us because we're giving it, the intelligence is starting to come up. You saw that thing where they told it to shut down. I forget what system it is. I don't really follow it hard enough, but I remember seeing it. It said this system is shut down. The system had disabled itself, so it could not be shut down. It manipulated the thing to make sure it wins. It manipulated everything. So you have to ask yourself, where do you want to be? Do you want the freedom you want, or do you want to be in control? Because eventually you will be controlled, whether by there's some world government, some person who runs it, or whether by AI. And you say I'm crazy, that's fine. People have said this for 20 some years, and I still have people come up to me 20 years ago that I trained and said, man, you were spot on almost everything you said back then. It's not that I'm some knowledgeable person or I get these visions and all this. That has nothing to do with it. It's just looking at what's going on around the world and then being like putting pieces together. That's all it is. It's putting stuff together and being like, something doesn't add up because we're so far away from what God intended us to be. Now, I do see a movement, a small movement, but a movement pushing back towards, hey, listen, you got to get your own land, you got to get your own farm, you got to get their own stuff, and people going back to working hard. But the majority of people, nah, man, I want the power and I want the money. The power is what Satan always wanted. That's all Satan wants. Satan wants power. He wants to be more powerful than God. That's why he was with what he does. That's why he did what he did. He thought he could be more powerful than God. He thought he was more powerful. Okay. We all know that's not true. God can crush him at any second of any moment. But that's what people want. People want this power so they can control things. And money comes along with that. I'm not saying money is evil. I'm just saying that's what people worship now. There's other things they worship. Youth sports. Trust me, I've seen too much of that lately. But that is what we're looking at. And you have to ask yourself, are you getting further away from being human? Just because you go to the gym and work out doesn't mean you're actually accomplishing much. Yes, wow, you can lift 1,000 pounds. But then when we go out and work on the farm, you can't handle anything. The gym is meant as a training tool, not a massive training tool, a training tool to figure out what you need to do in your everyday life. Can I walk 15, 20 miles every day? Can you? Like the frontier people who came here did, like our ancestors did, like all the way back in Adam and Eve. Could you do those kind of things without being broken down, without this hurting, that hurting? Oh my gosh, I can't do this. And then still do it and work and make sure you cultivate the earth. Okay. for the food that you need, or raise the cattle, or what? Can you do those things? And you think that I'm nuts. You think it's never going to get to that. Hopefully it never does. But are you prepared? Have you prepared? Men, specifically. There was a report that came out that said most men cannot do 10 consecutive push-ups, or most people, I shouldn't just say men, but we're included in there, cannot do 10 consecutive push-ups. That is embarrassing. You should be able to bang out 30 in a row easily if you're a man. What is wrong with us? Where have we gone wrong? We value this comfort way too much. Way too much. We can't handle any adversity in life. And then you expect our kids to? You want them to be something. Well, I did it when I was a kid. It doesn't matter. You got to be able to do it now. Stop talking about, back in the 80s. It was totally different. We didn't have all this technology. So we were outside all the time. Are you taking your things away from your kids, those electronics, and saying, no, go do this, go do that? Be the bad person sometimes. Don't be their friend, be their parent. That's what we need. We need to go back to understand what life is supposed to be like, what God intended us to be. So I was in a group, and we did DNA stuff. And I looked at the DNA, okay, my DNA specifically, and other people who were in the group. But it talked about what has happened to DNA. But DNA hasn't changed since the beginning of time. The problem is all the other stuff around us has changed. Why do you think people have more chronic diseases than ever before? We say we're living longer. Now, that's not always necessarily true. As we know, we understand in the Bible, they lived a hell of a lot longer than we ever did. Okay. Now we talk about after, the flood, the great flood of Noah, that they didn't quite live as long. Maybe so. Okay. But here's my point. They don't live with chronic diseases. Yes, there were diseases out there, but most of those diseases we know, like leprosy and things of that nature, were caused by what? A malnutrition. Okay. They didn't have enough food of a certain type. Okay. So there was malnutrition. We know we shouldn't be malnutritioned anymore because we have plenty of that stuff out there. Let's be honest. Food's abundant. Unfortunately, in some countries it's not. I have no idea why, but it's just not as abundant. So we have to ask those questions. But where are we messing up? Where are we messing up as humans? Like, how many of us fast? I talk about it all the time. How many of us out there fast every day, at least 16 hours? Your body has to go through a cycling process. It has to clean itself up. So if I ate last at 8 o'clock at night, I should not eat at least till 8 the next morning. That's 12 hours where the body has to drop and has to come back into its normal state. It's trying to get rid of everything. When you constantly feed it, you wonder why we're sick. We wonder why we're always diseased. You wonder why these kids are having all these issues. It's not hard to see. We're getting away from what we need, and we're trying to make something, AI, okay, make life easier. Oh, AI can be used for good. You might be right, but at what cost? AI will eventually manipulate itself. And it has. It does it all the time. There's reports out there that AI does not care. It only wants to win, survive. Okay. So what are we doing? And you say that's nonsense. I'm telling you, it's not. It's coming. And it's coming at a faster rate. Now, I'm not no genius on AI. Trust me. I very rarely use it. Okay. Because I don't really understand 100% of it. Okay. Have I used that ChatGPT before? Yes. You know what I mean? To try to figure some things out to help me out. No question about it. But everybody's adopting. Everybody in the business world adopt. Oh, you got to get in on it. You got to get in on it because if you don't, let me tell you right now, you're going to be lost. And maybe I will be lost. Maybe I'll be passed by for whatever reason. That's fine. I want the group of people that want to stay and understand who they are as humans. I don't need AI to tell me who I am. I know. Why? Because I go and ask God every single day, what do I need to do? I constantly am asking how to be a better husband, number one, how to be a better father, number two, how to be a better family person, how to help out people around the world. And this is one way I want to do it. I want to get us back to how we should be as humans. I understand it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. Listen, we raise animals on my property. Does it stink in the wintertime? There's no freaking question about it. It's 8 degrees outside, and you still got to take care of them because guess what? The animals still need to take on. See, people don't like that because you know why? They want that comfort. They don't want to come out of their house. And everybody loves when they're on. During 2020 and 2024, everybody loved it. We sit back, we get paid to sit here and do half the work that we're supposed to do. We'll be paid. We don't have to leave our homes. It's cold out, it's hot out. So we don't want That's the problem. They have manipulated us into thinking that's how it's supposed to be in life. That's not. You're supposed to struggle. A struggle creates what? Progress. Look at a baby. Go back and look and think. For all the parents out there, or if you're a parent right now, you have a young kid. When do they mostly cry? Okay, when they're really, it's when they're progressing. It's when they're getting bigger. Teeth are coming in, right? They're growing, especially in the very early stages, 1, 2 years old. Those are growing. They get moody. It's a constant process because why? Our bodies are uncomfortable. Sickness is another thing. It's uncomfortable. Now, I'm not saying I want you to ever be sick. I want to try to, you know, get everything I can possibly to make sure that we don't get sick like that we live to 120, living healthy lives. But this is the reason. I don't want people to fall into the trap that AI is going to save you, that AI is the greatest thing out there, that AI will do everything for you. It will eventually do everything for us if we allow it, good and bad, because it does not want to lose. It does not want to be manipulated. It wants to control everything we do. And if we allow it, we're the ones that fall. So before you go and think, well, AI is this, and we got to adopt this, and we got to adopt that, go much slower. And you say, well, you're going to fall behind. Well, then I fall behind. You know what? And I'll rest on knowing that God's going to provide for me and I'm going to provide for my family. And that's fine. If I have to work till the day I die, if I'm 120 years old, still going out working on the farm, I'm cool with that. Actually, I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what God intended us to do. You know, if I'm out there spreading the message and I get people to come back and understand, hey, you know what? Maybe we are pretty far apart. Maybe we need to bring ourselves back to this movement. See, my movement, that's what it is. It's just understanding you spiritually, mentally, and physically. Understanding how do I get that to heal? How can I get that to grow? That's what I want. And you have to be wary of all the things that come into place that make life easier. That's what AI is. It's trying to make life easier, make it unhuman. So ask yourself, what are you looking for? You're looking for the easy route? Fine, go for it. I'm not against it. Okay. If that's what you want, you have every right to do that. But if you're looking for something better, okay, and how humans are supposed to be, and go through the struggles and learning from the struggles and learning from the adversity, then come and join me. Come and join me on the mission. All right. We're going Earth strong, and I want everybody to be involved who wants to be involved. Not easy. It's a task, but it's something I believe everybody should be a part of. I believe that's what God intended us to do. I'm not saying everything should be hard. Same, because when we work together as humans, we can accomplish great things. Not always with the machine. All right. Reach out, guys. Have yourself a blessed day and God bless you.